Hello and welcome to the Minds on the Frontline Podcast. I'm Geoff, one of your hosts. I'm a professional firefighter, paramedic, educator, and content creator. My co-host today is Mike Mattern. He's also a firefighter, paramedic, and also a peer support team expert. In this episode, we welcome Steve Grunwald, a Detroit radio host at 99.5 WYCD, and a part-time law enforcement officer. Steve works with the Wolverine Lake Police Department, where he is involved with Marine Patrol and also serves as a part-time deputy with the Genesee County Sheriff's Office. Through his work in media, law enforcement, and community service, Steve brings a unique perspective on public perception, service, work-life balance, and the personal impact of always being someone others rely on. This conversation focuses on the pressure many frontline workers understand well. Caring about the job, caring about the people, and still trying to protect your own balance and well-being. Steve talks openly about the struggle to say no, the weight of always showing up, the stigma that can keep people silent, and why one honest conversation can make a difference. For first responders and their families, this episode is a reminder that service is meaningful, but it can also come with a cost. Strong people still need support, and the people who take care of everyone else still need to be taken care of too. Minds in the Frontline is presented by the Frontline Strong Together 5 program. FST5 offers 24/7 mental health and crisis support for Michigan's first responders and their families. If you or someone you know needs help, call 1-833-34-STRONG or visit fst5.org to learn more and explore our free training options for Michigan's frontline agencies. Wayne State University administers the FST5 program with grant funding from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Together, we are dedicated to strengthening the health, resilience, and well-being of Michigan's frontline community. Please follow us on social media and enjoy the show.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us today.
I'm excited about this. You know, I wasn't sure what I was going to be getting myself into today.
Yeah?
Yeah, just, I think for me, when you talk about mental health, it's one of those things, as a guy, I feel like we internalize so much.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not the manly thing to do. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
And I think it's hard for a lot of people. I'm a very open person, very transparent, and I think being in this line of work, we all see how important mental health is because of our jobs, but yet I feel like we're maybe some of the worst people to take care of our mental health.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's frame the conversation beyond that. Thank you very much for that introduction to a segue into this, but let's back up and who are you? What do you do? Where do you do it?
Okay. My name is Steve Grunwald, and I am a radio host here in Detroit. I've been on the air at WYCD, the country station, 99.5. It's been 20 and a half years that I've been doing mornings, a long time. And I'm also a part-time police officer with the Wolverine Lake Police Department. I'm also a reserve officer there, and I basically run the Marine Patrol. So I love being on a boat. I enjoy that. I grew up on the water. I teach boating safety, snowmobile safety, hunting safety, and I'm also a part-time deputy with the Genesee County Sheriff's Office, and I help my sergeant run the Marine Patrol for them. Also on the dive team as well.
Oh, wow.
And that's basically,
Busy guy.
I don't have any other free time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's a good thing. You know, the idle hands, the devil's playground. So
Yeah.
You have the same type of brain I think most first responders do, where we get involved in so many things. We wear a lot of different hats over our careers, sometimes related to what our primary job is, sometimes completely unrelated. You know, firefighter paramedics who also do a podcast, which, by the way, it's kind of intimidating to have a professional radio host come into your studio.
That's all right.
It's a little weird, but you're so cool that you didn't make me feel that way. What has balance looked like for you, having to wear so many different hats and juggle at the same time while singing a song?
So for me, there's probably no guest that you will ever have on that has a worse balance ever. My balance is awful.
Okay.
And let me tell you how awful. So once May starts and the Marine Patrol starts, I get off the air at 10 o'clock Friday morning. Normally, I'm racing home. I'm putting on my sheriff's uniform because at the sheriff's office, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are the days we patrol. Or I'm working at the police department, and I don't usually work there unless it's super busy on a Friday, so I at least get Saturday and Sunday. So for me, it's 7 days a week. And last year was a great year. We had a couple of rain days. So last year, from May through the end of September, I got 3 days off.
Ooh.
3 days.
Do you have
That's
like
it.
a lot of gambling debts?
No,
Like, what are we doing here?
no.
bud?
The problem is, I love what I do, and I love helping people. I love doing good things, and for me, it's about giving back, and that makes me happy. So I just have to find a better balance, and I think that's all what we struggle with is balance. And you put everybody else first in this job, in this line of work. Everybody that's a first responder, they put everybody else first, and they put themselves last. And I'm used to it. I'm getting better, but it's still not great. I guess that's my internal struggle, is to try to help and do that. Now, I've hired a couple of other people that are going to be starting at the police department for me to give me a little bit more of a break. But it's difficult. So, but I enjoy it at the same time.
Yeah, but there's a balance, right?
It's the balance. Yeah. And sometimes I find myself, to be honest with you, towards the end of the summer, sometimes being a little short maybe with people, and I that's not fair, but I'm being honest about it. That's reality, and it's not fair to somebody else, and I'm usually pretty good at giving myself a check, a reality check, and saying that's not who you are. But it's the toughest thing, I think, with this job. There are two things. It's my mental balance that I have a hard time with this job, and the other thing is anything to do with children. That, for me, mentally is super hard.
Yeah.
And those are the two things with this job. Medicals, things like that, accidents, seeing a body, any of those things I'm okay with.
Yeah.
I can deal with it. But those other two things for me mentally are the toughest thing of the job.
And they're unavoidable. You're going to engage with children.
100%.
Yeah, and I think it's tough as first responders because what fills our cup is helping other people, right?
Yeah.
So we get something every time we help somebody or we do something that we love, our cup gets filled up. But that same mentality, what you're talking about, is you love it so much and you're doing it so much that work-life balance gets so far off that you forget about everything else.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's not fair. And it's not fair to the people in our lives as well, because, I'm a very friendly, outgoing person, and I have a ton of friends. And I feel like when the summer comes, I'm ghosting so many people, but not on purpose.
Yeah.
I just don't have balance for that.
Seasonal work. You're a
You're
seasonal
right.
worker.
And
you're
I'm a smart
slammed.
guy. I know what I need to do, but yet I can't find it. And I really need to go back to the police department and say, it's not my problem.
And that's a very hard step.
If you can't find somebody else to help balance, I can't do all of this. It's not my problem. But you know what? I'm not that person.
And I think a lot of people find themselves in a lot of worry. But who's going to handle the whatever? Who's going to stock who's going to do and that's not just police, that's fire, EMS, all the things.
But the Wolverine Lake Police Department is 8 people.
Yeah.
We're
and
a
that's when it
close,
gets worse.
small, little department.
Yes.
I love the community.
Yes.
I love everybody there. I love that village.
It's a Mayberry feel.
It is, and that's why I do it.
Right.
That's why I'm not at a big department
where you can say, screw it, somebody will pick
Yeah.
up the overtime. And that is a difference. When you're
Yes.
protecting a smaller community, you do get a little bit different ownership.
Correct.
It's not like you get more or less. You have different ownership. And I
Yes.
think part of it is the anxiety of letting go. And I worked for a smaller community before the one I'm in now, or at least my role felt smaller, to where if you weren't there, you were impacting the team more. Not so much the community, but the people that actually got to take
100%.
out the garbage and make the donuts and make the sausage, however you put that. So I can really empathize with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of the biggest things is, we talk about the I can't say no.
Why can't you
Right.
say no, by the way?
I think for me, it's just I know what I need to do, but I say it every year, and I still don't do it. I get better at it,
Sure.
but I care so much. And, they always say the one that least cares controls the relationship.
Yeah.
And that's not me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, I'm a super mentally strong person. That's just my nature. But when it comes to stuff like this, I'm still that guy that tries to make everybody else happy, and I put myself at the end. And I can see where when people are juggling bills and all of these other things and families and stress, how their mental health is affected by that, because I can see it with mine. And like I said, I'm super mentally strong, and I can see where that can be a downfall with other things, with drugs and alcohol and things like that, where people fall into that trap to self-medicate.
Like you talked about it just earlier. You talked about how you feel like you're letting people down. You have those types of feelings, and then they fill it with the drugs, the alcohol, to make themselves feel better. I was like you for a long time. I never said no to anybody, right? And it wasn't until my dad got sick and he passed away from cancer that it really showed me, like, okay, this is what's important, right? The fire service was there 100 years before I was, and it's going to be there 100 years after, right? I'm making my impacts, I'm doing my things, but at the end of the day, it was like I have to focus on what's important, family. And you never know how much time you have here. You got to use it accordingly. I love my job, love going to work, I love what I do, but it's like I have to say no, because there's those times where it's like I'm not missing my son's baseball game. I'm not missing this. I'm not missing this.
Those first 10 years,
Yeah,
you're like, I will do it. Nope, so Harney, I gotta go. I'm going to.
I remember years ago being on stage at Kenny Chesney, and the Kenny Chesney show is happening at Ford Field, and my chief called me, and he said, such and such didn't show up today. I need you to work. And I said, well, who's there now? And he said, I'm patrolling right now. How long will it take you to get here? I should have said, I can't.
Yeah.
But I said, I'll be there in an hour.
Oh.
And, I'm racing from Ford Field to get home, get my uniform on, and get over there. And that's on me. And we were talking about that with people self-medicating. Let me give you a story, and I'm going to try to keep this as vague as possible. I don't want anybody to know who it is. I had an interesting conversation with someone I worked with who was using alcohol a lot. And this was over the years. And this person 4 months ago told me on the phone, said, you saved my life. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. He says, I wanted to thank you for something. I talked to so-and-so, and they told me I should not tell you, but you saved my life, and you don't even know it. And I was kind of confused, and I didn't know what he was talking about. And he said, I was coming to work one day, and you had already got to work. You had the patrol car going, and you were going to go with me that day and ride in the car with me. And I was planning to come into the locker room and shoot myself. It was very hard for me to hear that, because I really care for this person. I like this person. And he said, you were there, and I went in and put my uniform on, and we went about the day, and it just threw me, somebody that I felt was so strong mentally, was so strong in other areas, that he was thinking about that, and I had no clue. No signs, nothing whatsoever. And since then, this person has gotten help, gotten treatment, went away, is not drinking anymore, and I still worry about it. And I said to him, listen, I love you. I care about you. If you ever think that way again, I understand, but let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And I said to him, listen, I love you. I care about you. If you ever think that way again, I understand, but let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And even right now, bringing the story up, it makes me want to cry.
Yeah, that's
because somebody's hurting that badly.
Bad that
but here's the thing. When it comes to this job, the moment you say, I'm having a problem, or mentally I'm in this, or whatever, now everybody knows your business. They're never going to forget it. They're never going to let it down. And
even if they're positive about it,
100%.
That's what you're associated with. How you doing? How you doing? Like all that, patronizing.
But I think it can ruin your career.
Totally.
100%.
Even if it's your own stuff, just like you're putting it on yourself, the projection on yourself is going to limit you.
If you're in a smaller department, I don't know if you can do it. Maybe in a big department where you could go somewhere else and or be transferred somewhere, but in a smaller department. So I understand why people don't say anything, why people keep everything inside. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what I can do for my friend.
Your story hits home, because I've had two of my coworkers tell me the same thing. And one of them was 20 years ago, where they were having a hard time, and I just sat down and had a conversation with them and come to find out 20 years later, they were literally going to go home that night and commit suicide. I had no idea for 20 years, and I'm good friends with this person. But the thing that I always got out of it was you never know what conversation is the one that's going to save somebody. But it's having that conversation is the important part of all of this, is you don't know what people are going through outside of here, right? You never know what conversation is the conversation that's going to save them. But you have to have the conversation. And the one thing that I've seen recently, and I mean recently within the past 2 or 3 years, with more of the peer support teams that are in place now in a lot of places, now you have a bunch of other first responders who can talk to one another. They understand what you're going through. It's amazing to me how many more people are reaching out now. But what I try to tell people is you don't have to be a peer support team member. You just have to be another human being.
Right.
You just got to make that connection.
Well, the nice thing about the peer support team is the confidentiality. So now things are in place to now where you can have a very private conversation with a designated human that can, by law, can't let that information out.
I understand that.
No. That's what I mean is, like, I wish the people that needed it in the moment understood that.
But let me ask you both an honest question right now.
Please.
If you were both going through something mentally right now.
Yep.
I'd call Mike.
But
he would. Yes. I'm not even joking. That's not even a joke.
I understand.
5 years ago. I'll go back in my head 5 years ago.
But you wouldn't be a little bit apprehensive.
Massive.
I would too.
It would take, even though I
100%.
knew I was going to do it, there'd still be the voice in my head going, we don't have to. You know, we can avoid this. We can avoid this.
Well,
and that's the fear factor.
Yeah. And
look at all the stuff first responders do and can go through and can deal with, and scenes and everything else. But when it comes to themselves, sometimes it's a disaster. Sometimes it's really hard.
Avoidance is much easier.
100%.
Because you can do more stuff to make me hit the feel-good button.
This friend that I was talking about and this former coworker, we don't talk about it. He doesn't bring it up. He's one of these guys that's old school. And you want to hear a selfish thing? I wish he never told me. I wish he never told me because it bothers me. Yeah. Because I'm the guy that wants to help and help fix it. And what can I do? And I don't know if it's fixed. And I still check in and do what I can, but I know that he's not going to just open up and talk about it. Mm-hmm. You know, him telling me was a giant step for him. You know, it was emotional when he told me. Then I'm thinking, you know, I think all these things, what if I wasn't there that day? Mm-hmm. Can you imagine coming into the locker room and finding, you know, your coworkers?
I never want to even imagine. That's a horror movie.
It's horrible. It would scar those people around that loved and cared about that person for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
And I've had other friends that have committed suicide, and it's horrible. And I still think about them a lot. And if I would have done this, and if I would have done that, and what if I said this, or what if I would have went there to see them that weekend, or all of these things that go through your head. Those are the things that, for me, are the tough part that mentally that I have to try to get through. Mm-hmm. And I don't have all the answers, but I know that I'll figure it out one day at a time.
What would you say to somebody who's really thinking about really dark places?
You got to talk to somebody, whether that is calling somebody on maybe a suicide helpline or somebody, if you want to remain anonymous and just you don't want anybody else to know, you don't want anybody from your work or anything like that, you got to talk to somebody. Because if you're going to those places, I think it's just a dead-end road.
Yeah. And what do you have to say to those people that weren't in your situation, that your buddy didn't tell you that day, which would have been very helpful, because then you could have helped guide to the next steps of, okay, well, I'm going to stop you from doing that right now, and now we're going to go get treatment. But he got it on his own. He told you later in the day. But what do you have to say to those people around those people?
It's getting rid of the stereotype that's old school in these people's heads.
Yes.
And I got to be honest, you know, the younger generation, when it comes to things like this, are way better than the older generation.
Way better. They almost come across cocky by how confident they are in their feelings.
Yes.
I caught myself with these young kids we got, and they were like really expressive. Like, and it wasn't an emotional thing. They were just very clear on something. Like, I think this guy makes me feel that way, and I'm like, you're not being cocky. Like, I want to react like you're this young blah, blah, but you're just telling me how you feel right now, and I'm uncomfortable because I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
Or they'll openly talk about, like, well, I talked about this with my therapist the other day.
Right.
And, you know, I've been doing the
they
fire
weren't
thing
brainwashed
for 20 years.
Right.
We never heard that 20 years ago.
No, I came from the family and the old school family of, whatever it is, walk it off.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're good.
You hurt yourself, walk it off.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
you're mentally unstable right now, walk it off.
Yep.
You know, whatever it is, it'll be fine.
Yes.
That was my father. And that's that old school mentality that
We lost a lot of friends because of that old school mentality.
Yeah.
I've lost friends in the fire service and all because of that mentality.
yes.
It has hurt more people than it has fortified our humans.
Yes.
I will
know?
tell you, I have a new police chief, and I love this guy.
Nobody's listening. Let's talk crap about him.
Okay. I had a nice conversation because, to be honest with you, when my chief retired and this new chief took over this past year, I was thinking about quitting. I got too much on my plate. It was one of those things. I didn't know this guy. I could just walk away. I wasn't friends with him. It's not my problem. And the more I got to know him, the more I liked this guy. And I remember one of the first things he said to me is, "How are you? I want to hear all about you." And he really cared. And he said, "I want to take care of the people," meaning us officers, "that take care of the people. Because if I can take care of you guys and make sure you're okay, you're the ones that are taking care of all the rest of the people." And I'm thinking, this guy gets
Simple.
it.
It's-
He gets it.
it's
It's
too
not
simple.
rocket science.
We've been preaching that for so long that the people in an organization are your greatest resource. It's not the cars. It's not the trucks. It's not that. You take care of the people. That's who you need
It
to
all
take.
falls into place.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
how many chiefs or people that you know are in charge have that
63%.
mentality? I don't.
No,
I don't
there's
think
not a
that,
lot.
I don't think there's a lot.
None.
I don't.
Yeah.
And listen. There's people that can say they care, and there's people that can show you they care every day by their actions.
Yep.
And that is this person. And I love this person. And I'm like, I am here for a reason.
He sucked you back in, huh?
Well, he did suck me back in, but he didn't do it. He's just being himself.
By him showing you that I'm here to care. I'm not here to overwhelm you. I'm here
Yeah.
because we got a job to do and I need you.
But
Makes it feel a lot more convenient to do.
correct. But those people now that work under him, those people want to work harder because of that.
And they're making it the way.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way we do it.
Yes.
That's how you change the culture.
100%.
That's 100% how you change a culture.
and
in a
the
place.
culture was changed dramatically.
That's
Yes.
huge.
And for that, I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I'm blessed to be where I'm at today. Listen, no matter what happens in life, I remember my father would always say, there's thousands of people that trade places with you in a second. You think your life is so bad? I don't care what's going on in your life. There are thousands of people that would trade places with you in a second. You're blessed. We're all blessed.
Yeah.
And
you got a house and people around you that
Yeah.
keep you
Yes.
alive.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. You've been doing the job a while, the side gig, not the radio stuff, but the police
Yeah, the
stuff.
police stuff. I went to school for it years ago. I've done radio since I was 15 years old, and I've had a great career. I've been in New York, Chicago, Minneapolis, Washington, D.C. I've been all over, and I remember coming to Detroit when I worked in Chicago, and I came to a concert here downtown, and I thought, and I remember saying this on the radio to my co-host, I will never go back to Detroit ever. This was,
what year?
20-some years ago.
Yeah, it was a
And I
different
said,
world.
it was almost like it was a war zone downtown.
It was
Yeah.
bad.
And I
yeah.
said, I will never come back here.
Yeah.
And I just feel like God was laughing and goes, we'll
Oh,
show
really?
ya.
Yeah.
Yeah. He goes, no,
Yeah.
no,
And I
hang
get
on. I got the cleaning crew coming. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So my company transferred myself and my other guy up here to Detroit, and I was miserable because coming from Chicago.
You got
and
everything.
I made them fly me back home every weekend to Chicago. And, over the years, you embrace it. I love the people here.
You find the
And-
gems.
and
you find the things you need.
I had the opportunity to leave many times, and you know what? There's no better place to be than Detroit, and these are my people. This is where I am supposed to be,
right on.
and I love it. And yeah, there's good and bad about every place, but honestly, Detroit, this is where I am supposed to be.
And how long you been doing the cop thing?
I've been at the police department now for 9 years. I've been at the sheriff's office 3 years, and I've been a couple of other places part-time and reserve before that. So
long enough to see an arc in how police officers have been treated in the
correct.
So, from your perspective, you're in media. So you get, but you're also out there in the streets long enough to get a feel. help everybody understand what cops are going through, because I will tell you the type of police officer that gets created now is a much different police officer than when I started. Yes.
I wish, regardless if I was in this or not, I wish the general public could go with a first responder for 24 hours.
Mandatory ride-alongs.
Mandatory ride-along, and to see what you have to deal with and go through sometimes.
Yes.
And for me, I have a hard time when I get complaints on me. And I will say I was the first person for my department years ago to wear a body cam. I was the test, because you're out on a patrol boat. Your car camera isn't going to work out that far, the microphone, everything. And that video camera, that body cam, has saved me so many times. If you're not doing anything wrong, what do you care?
Yeah. I'd rather have it.
Yeah,
exactly. Now I can control the outcome.
100%. And I've had so many people go back and review, and that's not what happened. And that's not what happened. And it saved me in court and everything else. What you have to go through nowadays, I feel like after COVID, it's out of control.
Yep.
And I had a gentleman flip me off the other day, and I'm at a stoplight, and the windows are down, and he's giving me the finger.
Just for no reason?
For no reason at all.
Okay.
And you know what I said? I said, I will still help you if you need help.
Yep.
That's the only thing you can't say.
That's all I said.
What you do, get mad and let him piss you off the rest
not at
of the
all.
day?
I'm not one of those guys. That's your right.
Yeah.
You know what? But I want to come across those people that are not happy with the first responders, because I want to show them I'm different. And I said that to my mother. Over the past few years, my mother hates that I do this. She does. She doesn't like it.
Right.
You know,
she's like, you don't need it. What are we doing here?
Correct.
Right.
But I do it because I like giving back and I like helping people. And I said, but this is the time that if you're a good officer and you're a good person, this is the time that we're needed the most, because I want to show these other people that maybe you had a bad experience with a law enforcement officer in the past. I'm not that person.
Right.
And I have the discretion with both of my jobs that I can, for the most part, determine what happens. Mm-hmm. I don't have to take you to jail. I don't have to arrest you. I might be able to get somebody else to drive the boat.
Yep.
I liked having that discretion versus having a big department where this is our policy.
Right.
This is what you do.
Yep.
That's not for me.
Yep.
And I'm not going to do that. And with my career at the police department and the sheriff's office, I know that if I do something wrong, I'm done in both my jobs. God forbid if I was ever involved in a shooting or anything like that, my radio job is done immediately. Whether it's
justified.
Whether it's justified or not, in the matter of public opinion, I am done.
Yep.
So there's a risk there. And I'm still willing to do that because of the good things that I like doing in the community. Mm-hmm. I've had a great life and a great career, and I've gotten to do things with the radio station that most people wouldn't be able to do in 100 lifetimes. So for me, doing something like this is super important to me. And my bosses at the radio station wouldn't like this, but if I had to pick one career, I've done radio so long, I would take the law enforcement
I know that
career.
feeling. I love the fire service, but if I don't have to get up for another call after midnight, I'm not going to be heartbroken.
I get it.
If I don't have to smell diesel exhaust anymore, I'm not going to be heartbroken.
Yeah.
It's been 20-some years.
You get that point in your career.
Yeah, and I'm great. I love it. I still got a good 8 years left due to age and time on the job, but I've been doing this 20-some years, so I can empathize with that and looking towards the next things that are motivating you. But I also think that's what makes you happy, is that you have the ability to look forward to try to make change, or whatever the thing is that makes you happy. It could be golfing. Whatever it is.
We were talking about a little Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, yes.
The gaming or watching a movie and just forgetting about the 4,000 things that you have going on in your life.
How important is that decompression time, do you think, for firefighters, paramedics,
It's huge.
Cops?
Think about what you see and what you deal with and what you go through as a first responder. You see things that people can't even imagine. You could give a million different examples. Pulling a drowning victim out of a lake, or somebody that was burned in a fire, or things that I know that I could say to both of you right now, or anybody listening.
Literally was picturing.
There's so many things in your head that you will never, ever, because it's so crazy, you will never, ever forget those. And you can go back tomorrow and think of all of these wild things because they're ingrained in your brain.
Yep.
You have to have something to be able to decompress. You have to. I don't know what it is.
Whatever.
It could be golf.
Yeah.
It could
Yours
be
is
video
video
games.
games. Right on.
For me, I don't have to think about all the things that I have going on. And my to-do list on my notes, that's
mine's
50
the Harley.
pages.
Well,
Yeah.
and we were talking about it. We found out we both have a severe love of Call of Duty.
Yeah, it sounds
And
like it.
for
You
the-
guys
but
are
for the-
nerding out when I came back
But
in
for the
here.
same reason.
Yeah.
Right? It's that decompression. And we were talking about it, and I use it for going from work me to home me. You know, I mean, when you're at work, you're switched on. When I come home, that's my I shut my brain off, just like you were talking about. And you're right, that decompression time or that almost like reintegration time is huge for first responders.
You know, and I think if you find your joy and find your balance and also find things, you know, there's certain times that I think we all know, man, I could use a day off or a break or something, you know, and take that day off.
Yep.
Because you know what? Your coworkers, the people around you will probably like that. You're probably a little bit mentally happier inside.
Oh, yeah.
And that comes out. You know, I don't want to be the cop that snaps on somebody because that's not who I am.
Right.
No, but we're human.
We are human.
We're human. We do a job, but at the end of the day, we're still human. So
Yeah.
you got stuff that's going on outside of work.
Correct. But
You're still human.
Name a better person that's really good at seeing self-awareness and things like that. We look for it in everybody else. We're really good at seeing little things that most people don't see.
We read people like a book.
Correct.
Yep.
And then you got to look within and say, hey, maybe I need a break.
And
Maybe
be
I need
okay
to talk
with
to
it.
somebody. Maybe I need this. Because going and doing the same thing over, what the definition of insanity, right?
Yep.
Doing the same thing over, expecting a different result.
Yep.
It doesn't happen. And, you know, as I get older, I think I find I don't care as much in certain things that I did in the past. But I do know that when your mental health is good, everything else is good.
Hell yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Take
Well,
the mental health days. Take 'em.
Absolutely. Well,
Yep.
on that note, thank you very much for your time today, sir.
You
We
kicking me
appreciate
out already?
Oh, you can hang out.
No, I'm just giving you a hard
listen,
time.
we could talk Call of Duty here for the next hour.
Yeah, set you up
But then,
room for it.
But then, you know, whatever people you have watching this will probably, you know, tune out. You'll watch everybody go away.
Or all of a sudden we'll get a much younger audience.
different.
Yeah.
I think you'd be surprised at how many first responders would watch a video game by first responders.
Probably. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the Minds on the Frontline podcast. We have more great content coming out soon. Please check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, and LinkedIn. And make sure to like and subscribe to all Minds on the Frontline podcast social media channels. Thank you, and have a great day.